The water's cold.
It's a fjord. You're not going swimming.
Boo. You're such a wet blanket, teddy bear.
You know I don't like it when you call me...
Edward Charles Hardin, Esquire.
Will you promise to behave on land?
Don't I always?
Lissy, promise.
Oh, piffle and phonus balonus, Teddy. You ought to know better than to ask. Yes, I'll behave. I'll be a proper young lady. I shan't run or climb things or laugh too loud or call anyone old bean. Aside from you. So, do you think we'll find your Betty in, what did you call this village? Gravewick?
Grovik. Yes, I do.
Why here? What's so special about Greywoke?
She never said, but knowing my sister, something drew her here.
But how can you know?
I just do. In her letter, she wrote about...
But that's months ago. She could have gone anywhere.
Without writing, or telegraphing her editor in New York, she wouldn't do that. Betty's...
The cat's pajamas, the bee's knees, Little Miss Perfect.
Alice, you're talking about my sister.
Fine. I'm sorry. Elizabeth Sidarb. We all love her dearly. And Teddy Bear? Edward? We will find her. Betty's fine. Why, we'll see her as soon as we get to shore. She'll shower you with kisses and berate you for coming all this way from Hanover, Massachusetts to the middle of absolutely nowhere Scandinavia way just to chase her down. Everything will be Jake, old fruit. Is that it? Is that Groovewoke? It looks so peaceful and beautiful and so desolate, like a place built for ghosts.
Finally. I don't think I could do this for much longer.
Can't you row any faster? I'm getting frightfully bored.
How about you take over, Alice?
You slay me, Teddy, old bean. Was that thunder?
Still distant. The boat will be in safe harbor by the time the weather arrives.
So you say. But I say put your back into it, because we're sitting ducks out here. Quack, quack. It's so quiet. Where is everyone?
Probably working. I know it's a foreign concept to you, but that's something normal people do.
Hardy har har.
The Fretland farm is up the hill somewhere.
Up where?
I believe it's that farmhouse, all the way at the top.
Hot dog! Let's ankle!
Hold on. Let me read the letter from Mrs. Fretland first.
I'll meet you up there, old sport. I want to explore. Last one's a skunk's tail.
Wait. The ground's muddy. It's easy to slip and fall. Walk slowly and watch out for...
Don't be a wet blanket. A little mud never hurt anyone.
Fine. Just stay close.
As long as you keep up with me.
Dear Mr. Hardin, we would like to extend an invitation to visit our home. Troubled to hear of your sister's disappearance. No news to share. You'll find our farm on top of the hill. Hope I got that right. Look forward to seeing you here in October. Yours faithfully, Anna Fretland. Well, I'm here. Where are you? Did you make it to Grovik, Betty? And why did you pick this forlorn hole under the mountains? Also sprach Zarathustra.
Teddy, are you coming? I'm almost there.
On my way.
Welcome back everyone. Today I bring you the full walkthrough for Draugen, a single-player, first-person horror game set in old Norway. So I'm not going to stand here throughout the entire game. This game was developed by Red Games and was released in 2019, so 5 years ago. If you are a horror fan, probably you heard about it. If not, this is a good chance to see the game. Red Thread Games is mostly famous for the Dreamfall games, and they have a new game now called Dustborn or something like that. Was not exactly my type of game. I do love Dreamfall and I do love Draugen. The game has mixed reviews on Steam. For some reason, I never understood that, but I actually enjoy the game. And let's face it, this is more due to the visuals than it is to the story itself. The story is very simple. I'm not gonna spoil it here, but it's nothing to write home about. The graphics, that's where the game truly shines. The fjord, it's truly amazing to look at. It is a place that I would love to see something like it, and yeah, I would love to live somewhere like that as well. It's very isolated what they are showing, but it's very, very cool. The first time I heard about it, it was around 2014, and I saw a teaser for it, and the teaser was actually really different from the game that came out in 2019. In 2014, the teaser made it look like it was going to be some kind of cosmic horror set in a cabin near the ocean, and when this came out, it's not exactly what was shown. And amazingly, I was looking for the game for many years, and when I bought this version of Draugen, I didn't even realize that this was the game that was shown before. I'll leave the first teaser trailer for the game for you guys to see what I'm talking about, so you can have an idea of how different it really is.
We are all of us anchored to the past, drawn inexorably back into that maelstrom of wistfulness, fear, and regret, with no recourse to escape its monstrous grasp. We struggle, anguished and distressed, until we are at last pulled under and stripped of all that we are, all that we have been, and ever will be. The past holds no allegiances to tomorrow. The past is a vast, undulating ocean, ravenously hungry, never sated. And sooner or later, we all drown in it. Is an ocean. Fathomless, menacing, unknowable. Tonight, the ocean comes for me.
I hope they had done a second game. In reality, I would really love to see a second game based on this world, but unfortunately, since it didn't sold very well, I don't think that will ever happen. But in the meantime, I'll leave you guys with a full walkthrough. I hope you do enjoy the game, as I did. If you do, don't forget to click the like button. If you're not subscribed, now it's a good time, and with luck, I'll see you next time.
What took you so long?
I'm not 17.
Nor are you 70. Put some spring into your step, old sport.
Did you see the flag? It's at half-mast. Someone died.
So this is it, huh? Nice digs. But seriously, where is everyone? This is
Up in the mountains, maybe.
herding goats? Are they goat herders? I took them more for fisher folk.
The rain's picking up. We should get indoors.
You first, old bean.
Hello? Anyone there? Mr. Fretland? Mrs. Fretland? This is Edward Charles Harden, the American. We've exchanged letters.
Maybe they went on holiday and left the door open. Give it a shake and a rattle.
I can't just barge into their home.
It's not a crime if you're invited.
I'm coming in. This is Mr. Harden. Hello? Is anyone home?
This house is as empty as a bird's nest in December. Hey, you want to check out the upstairs?
I'm a guest. Why would I start poking around every corner of the house?
I don't know. Maybe they're playing hide and go seek. Well, I didn't want to go upstairs anyway. It's creepy.
There must be a sitting room on this floor.
Oh, this is nice. Charmingly rustic. The Boston Beaumont would pay a pretty penny for this setup. I thought foreigners lived differently. This is almost like an American home.
People are people wherever you go.
Thanks, Proust. Look! Family pictures. They must be the, what did you call them? It's on the tip of my tongue.
The Fretlands.
Right. Anna and John?
Johann.
This is honestly not what I'd pictured. They're very presentable. Not at all like turnip farmers.
They're not turnip farmers. That must be Johann Fretland, master of the house.
What makes you think he's the master of anything? It's 1923, Teddy, old boy. Women can vote. Wait, is that... Are they... Who's... They're all twins. All of... Johann went and found himself a delectable bride.
Alice, please.
What can I say? She's a minx.
Anna Fretland is a respectable woman. Her letter was courteous and professional.
Didn't you say she was a city girl? Must have been awfully hard to adjust to life in the sticks. I can relate.
Hanover isn't the sticks.
Says you. I'm guessing their daughter is the master of this house. She's cute as a button. I can't wait to meet her. She's guaranteed to be more fun than you. Old Johann's a bit wooden, isn't he? Like someone put a stick up
posing for a
up his
photograph.
rear end. I say, loosen up, Johann. I'm sure you two stiffs will get along famously.
Betty might be with the Fretlands, wherever they are.
Wouldn't Anna Fretland have written you?
She might have. We left Hanover a month ago. The flag outside was flying at half-mast.
What does that mean?
Someone died. It'll get dark soon.
Where will you sleep? There must be a guest bedroom.
Dear Mrs. Fretland, I trust this letter finds you and your husband in good health. I wrote to inform them about when I'd be arriving. So where are they?
Do they even have calendars? Maybe they don't know what day it is.
Despite appearances, we haven't gone back in time. They have calendars. Home feels very far away.
Are we feeling melancholy again?
I've never been this far from Hanover.
It's about time we got you out of that dreary old house, Teddy Bear.
Oh, the thought of boarding that infernal ocean liner again.
I quite enjoyed it. So much room for exploration and mischief.
So many opportunities for seasickness and claustrophobia.
Don't be a Debbie Downer. I'm sure your tummy will be better behaved on the return voyage. And you'll be craving enclosed spaces after a week in this wide-open wilderness.
I asked about Elizabeth.
And they hadn't seen her?
Mrs. Fretland promised she'd write if she heard anything. There wouldn't be many female reporters from New York and Western Norway.
Why would she come here in the first place?
Betty always has her reasons. Betty would have fallen in love with this house. She adores the rustic.
You're the Betty expert.
She once begged me to buy an entire set of pastoral dining room furniture for the house.
It's not like she's ever there. Where do you think they've gone?
It's really coming down.
How about a quick run in the rain?
You can't be serious.
You're already a wet blanket, Teddy Bear. It's not like you'll get any wetter.
You can see the whole village from up here.
Do you want to go sightseeing?
Tomorrow. It's getting late. and the rain's not abating. Do you regret coming here with me?
Are you kidding me? I never miss out on a grand adventure. Besides, you wouldn't survive a day without me, Teddy Bear.
Did you find anything interesting?
I find everything interesting.
Did you find anything interesting?
I find everything interesting.
Did you find anything interesting?
I find everything interesting.
The books are all in English.
Isn't that a bit odd?
Mrs. Fretland is Scottish, though she grew up in Olesund.
Have you been secretly communicating with Johann's winsome wife, Edward dearest?
Certainly not. She was the one who wrote me, because Mr. Fretland's English
I was
isn't
only
as...
joking. Lighten up, old sport. Don't be such a pill. Oh, those boys look proud as peacocks. What does it say there? Groovy?
Gruben, the mine.
Maybe that's where everyone is. Digging for precious jewels in the Stygian abyss.
From what I learned of this place during the brief stay in Olesund, the iron mine shut down 20 years ago. Tragic accident befalls the Fretland Brothers Mining Company.
What happened?
The mine collapsed, killing 3 workers, including Arne Fretland, Frederick and Johann's younger brother.
That's awful. How old was he?
19. Operations were suspended after the accident. Foreign investors out of Frederick Fretland's mining company. Dire financial consequences for Fretland, who must have had a difficult time after his brother Johann Fretland pulled out earlier this year. The timing is curious, like he knew something was about to go awry. Johann Fretland exits Fretland Brothers Mining Company.
So the brothers parted ways?
Johann sold his share to focus on farming.
That must have put a damper on their relationship.
Betty.
Have you gone screwy again, Teddy? That's not Betty.
Her
That's...
scarf. I'd know it anywhere.
It doesn't look like anything to me. It
She
just
bought it in
looks like...
Bloomingdale's the Christmas before last. When she came home that year, she showed it off, dancing around the sitting room until I got dizzy watching her.
I think you're misremembering. She couldn't make it home that year. Again.
No, you're wrong. I'm sure she was there. Look, it is her scarf. It even smells like her perfume. Shalimar.
But what if that's not...
She's here. I'm finally going to find her.
That's great, Edward, really. I wouldn't want you to get your hopes up. I mean, where's everyone gone to? Something's not right, I'm telling you. Teddy? Edward, what's wrong?
Lightheaded, that's all.
You're having another spell. You know what happens when you exert yourself. Sit down. That's an order from your commander.
Yes. I just need to catch my breath. Just for a moment.
I want you to lie down. Lie down and close your eyes. It's been a strenuous day. What with the rowing and the dragging of the suitcase up the hill.
Well, what if the Fretland...
I'll keep an eye out. I promise. If they come home, I'll wake you. Now, lie down, close your eyes, breathe deeply.
I'm just going to...
Shh.
Elizabeth? Is that you? Betty? Lissy? Lissy, are you here? Lissy! Where are... Hello? Hey, who's there? Betty? Elizabeth? Wait! Lissy, there's someone outside. It might be Betty. Are you here, Lissy? Who's out there? Hello? Betty? Lissy? I'm not alone. Betty? I can hear you! Alice! Alice, where are you? Are you out there, Betty? Who goes there? Wait! Can you hear me? Where are you? Elizabeth! Someone there? Lissy? Hello? Betty? Are you there? Betty, is that you? Elizabeth, are you there?
The boat, Edward! Where's our boat?
Lissy. What about the boat?
It's gone.
The boat... What? How?
Maybe you didn't secure it properly.
I pulled it up. I don't know. I thought I tied it securely, but... Where did you go?
Out? For a walk. It stopped raining.
Did you see Betty?
Did I see... What are you talking about?
I think... Betty... It was Betty. It was her. It must have been her. I saw her face in the window, and she vanished into the dark, towards the sea. You really didn't see anyone?
I haven't seen a single soul. Are you sure it was her and
Yes!
not...
I mean, I saw her face, and it looked like her.
Well, if it was her, why did she run away?
I don't know. It's getting dark. Back to the house. Then tomorrow.
Tomorrow's another day. We'll figure it out. Right now, let's get you cleaned up. Look at you. You've got mud all over yourself. And then you really need to sleep. You must be exhausted. Come on.
I will find you again.
Teddy, come outside. It's a beautiful day.
Lissy!
I'm outside.
I just about given up on you ever waking up. Sleep well?
I dreamed of Betty. She was in the garden, and she called for me.
How about you, Lissy dearest? Oh, you know me, old fruit, wide awake at first light.
The Fretlands didn't come home, did they?
They did not. There's no sign of anyone. Aside from last night's Mistwalker.
I've been thinking about that. It was dark. Maybe I just saw a shadow.
Chasing a shadow. That's very unlike you, old boy. Usually you scurry off in the opposite direction.
I didn't get a good look. I'm not even sure there was anyone there.
Well, there must be someone here. And I'm not talking about ghosts. Or goats. What was it you said yesterday? Maybe they're looking down on us from the mountaintops.
I'll take a gander. The Fretlands will be home soon. And Betty's here. I know it. I feel it.
If you say so, Teddy Bear. Have you had your noodle juice yet?
I'm not rummaging through their cupboards.
You'll be a pill without your tea and toast, old bean. We need to get you sorted.
I'm not hungry. First point on the agenda. Find the natives.
A mission! Hot dog! I'll scout ahead. I'll meet you down by those houses.
Let's uncover your secrets, Grovik. Where are you, Lissy?
Right by the village houses.
Up here, Teddy. It's such a beautiful day. You could bottle and sell this air in Boston. It's frankly medicinal.
Careful you don't fall.
You suck the fun out of everything, old boy.
We're far from any doctor. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
That's not very likely, is it?
Thought you were scouting ahead.
What do you think I'm doing? Vantage point, like on a pirate ship. I can probably see our house in Hanover from here.
Did you check those buildings?
Knocking on doors isn't a scout's job, old bean.
There must be someone around.
Only one way to find out, old sport. Did you check all the houses?
There must be someone around.
Only one way to find out, old sport. Did you check all the houses?
Hello? Anyone here?
Why, hello, Mr. No one home?
Hello? Who's there? Hello? Anyone home? Lissy, are you here?
No need to shout.
Did you see this door closing?
It was just the wind, Teddy Bear. You're as skittish as a pussycat. There's one more house. Third time's the charm.
Anyone home?
Unless they're playing hide and go seek, I'd say that's enough. 3 strikes, you're out.
I don't think anyone's been home for a while. Someone painted the word traitor on one of the doors.
Still think everyone's up in the mountains, herding goats? Where are you going?
I saw some sheds down by the water. There's the general store, the church.
In other words, time for some sightseeing? Well, it's a bright and beautiful day, and we have nothing better to do.
What on earth are you doing?
Handstands, Teddy! My record is 2 minutes. I'm working on 3. Just go on ahead. I'll catch up. about we don't go back to Hanover and stay here instead?
And how would I survive?
Hunt? Harvest? Forage? People have survived here for centuries. Why can't we?
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
I could learn. I'd start with goats. Goats can be eaten and milked. Probably not in that order. Frederick Fretland and son.
Johann's brother and nephew.
The Fretlands have their fingers in all the pies, including the only store in town.
Also the post office and telegraph. Or maybe something that'll lead us to Betty in there.
Or at least to some canned sardines. We need to get you fed, old bean.
Fretland and Son.
How do you figure?
It's on the sign above the entrance. And on this photograph. Frederick and Simon Fretland. Simon Fretland. Frederick's son.
And Johann's nephew. See, I'm getting the hang of this.
The older gentleman is clearly Mr. Fretland's twin brother.
Twins are confusing. If this was a dime novel, they'd be switching places at some point to confuse the coppers. Damn you, twins!
Applesauce.
Why lock any doors? I can't imagine they have a problem with punks and hoodlums.
The sign says they're closed, but I thought maybe... Hello? Are you open? Is anyone there?
Can't you just bust down the door? Locks be damned.
Breaking and entering, I will not. I'll just dislocate my shoulder. They had a memorial service for the accident in the mine. On July 24th, in the village church.
For something that happened 20 years ago?
It still affected their lives. The telegraph is out of order.
Well, there goes my plan. NOSOS.
This was 2 years ago, but the notice is still up.
How can it take 2 years to get something like that fixed?
If they couldn't afford it? Or couldn't get anyone to come fix it?
Well, this place really is off the map. Here be dragons. Or Draugans, I guess.
The ferry route is no longer operating.
Rats!
Mrs. Fretland already informed me in her letter.
I know. Still warrants a resounding rats.
I wonder why it stopped running.
Look around. How many people live here? 20? 30? That can't be enough for a ferry route.
Things got quieter after the mine closed down.
They need to move on and find something else to put their village on the map. Tobacco farming, maybe.
There's no damage to the rope.
I don't know what that means.
Nobody cut it. I guess the knot could have unraveled on its own.
Didn't you say you used a sailor's knot?
I'm a scholar, not a fisherman.
So who took our boat? The ghost?
I believe the tide took our boat.
If you say so. But then who were you chasing after last night? A shadow?
I don't know. It was probably all in my head. Betty would have taken plenty of constitutionals here. She loves the outdoors.
How so? She's a city girl.
I'm sure she gets tired of Manhattan. And when she was little, she loved playing in the garden back in Hanover, especially around the pond.
Are you alright?
I just miss her.
A boat! Teddy! A hot dog! This is our ticket out of here!
Not without Betty. Besides, there's a hole in this boat. It'll sink before it gets 10 yards from shore. It's curious. The state of the boats. It's like they stopped taking care of them.
Seems short-sighted. How would they fish? Or get anywhere at all? What's this?
Remnants of the mining operation.
What, mine?
Remember, I told you yesterday. There was a mine here, but it closed down 20 years ago.
I know, Edward. I was just checking for a sense of humor. Still nowhere to be found.
Til minne om. It's a memorial. 3 men died when the mine collapsed in 1902. Georg Hattestad, Niels Frambu, Arne Fretland.
See, this is what working a regular job. Did you say Fretland?
The younger brother who was mentioned in the article. The newspaper said the accident forced the mine to shut down.
What does any of this have to do with us?
I still don't know why Elizabeth came here.
And you think it has something to do with this mine?
Or with what it did to the village. Maybe.
What did they use this for?
Bringing the ore down from the mine before it was loaded onto boats.
So, diamonds? Gold? Or just boring old silver?
Iron ore.
Or what?
Rock, which contains iron
I know.
deposits that...
Okay, Edward.
He was just 19.
How long had he been working in the mine? That's too young for a dirty job like digging into rock.
We're in the real world, Lissy. Most teeners don't have the luxury to idle away their days with games and witty repartee.
Ouch. I don't understand why they just leave this here. Like an altar to adversity. It's creepy.
Rustic superstition. Perhaps they believed they'd attract bad luck if they moved it.
Where do these tracks lead?
To the mine. Where else would they go?
I don't know. A castle up in the mountains where the frost giants live? And this is how they receive their monthly offering of meat from the villagers. Goat, I hope.
No trespassing for traitors.
Cool. Want to jump the gate and explore what's on the other side? What?
The sign says no trespassing for a reason.
Come on! There may be trolls, or at least more houses. Where's your sense of adventure, old sport? Don't you want to see where these tracks go?
They lead to the old mine, and no. I've had enough adventure on this side of the fence. Besides, they wrote no trespassing for a reason.
You're such a terrible bore, Teddy Bear. I'll wager 1,000 clams you'll jump this gate at some point, if you believe Betty's on the other side.
Frederick Fretland. Who are these traitors he refers to?
What now? We've looked everywhere.
There really doesn't seem to be anyone around.
Maybe we missed something. An important clue. How about the general? We haven't been inside yet.
It looked deserted, but worth another look, I guess. Lizzie, come here. It's Betty's hat. She was here. She could still be in there. Betty? Betty!
Are you sure, Edward? I mean, it's just a hat. Is it even a hat? I'm
I
not
know
sure.
my sister's hat, Lizzie. I have to get inside.
What about the breaking and entering part?
I could care less what they call it. Here's an open window.
You seem eager to break the law. I approve.
It won't budge.
Nah, don't be a milquetoast.
Well, it's stuck.
Attaboy, Teddy. You can do this.
I can't believe I'm actually breaking... Whoops, Daisy.
Oh my, Teddy. You're such a sap.
Edward Charles Hardy.
Dilettante, world traveler, cat burglar.
A cat burglar would, by definition, enter a building on a higher
Jeez.
floor.
The state of this place.
Oh, Betty.
Edward,
I hope you weren't here when...
is this... blood?
Not necessarily human blood.
Well, that's all right then. What does it say? Barn murder? Someone murdered a barn?
Barn means child. And mortar, that's...
Child murderer. Edward, they murdered a child?
Someone thought so.
Probably the same someone who vandalized the store.
I'm not sure how I feel about being in here.
Don't be ridiculous. We're all alone. What else do you suggest we do?
Damnation. The hat's in here.
Calm down, old boy. Anyway, how's a hat going to help us?
Who knows what else is in here? There could be more clues.
All right. Okay. Everything's Jake. We made it into the store. I'm sure we'll find a way through that door. It's been cut. Why?
To remove someone from the picture.
That's just rude.
It's from the opening of the mine in 1897. That's Frederick, Johann's brother.
And the boy could be the younger brother who died.
Frederick clearly did not want anything to do with his twin brother. Why would Frederick keep a list of what he calls traitors?
What did they do to him?
Cross him in some way? Why else keep a list of undesirables?
What are you doing?
Looking for keys.
Your life of crime continued.
There's a note.
Is it written in Viking runes? What does it say?
It's from Simon. Jeg put it means I put. Nøkkel is key. Casa. I don't know what that word means.
He put the key in the casa?
Casa. I wish I had my dictionary. The note's addressed to his father.
So the key was moved. But where to?
Somewhere safer. Or more convenient.
Can we really trust your translations? You only started studying a month ago.
I spent the summer reading. and I had a lot of free time on the ocean voyage.
Come on, how much could you possibly pick up in a few months?
You know my mind, it's a sponge. These were never sent.
How long have they been piling up?
I received Mrs. Fretland's letter in June, and they received my letter from July.
A couple of months. Perhaps the world forgot about Grovik.
Out of order.
Why hasn't it been fixed?
Perhaps there wasn't much demand for it anymore.
S-O-S. Oh boy. If only this thing worked. We could order a boat to come get us. Or, even better, order some hot grub.
Casa.
So that's what it means. Cash register. You're a genuine gangster now, old fruit. Don't worry. If you get busted, I'll come visit you in the big house. The Vandals weren't here for the money.
I think money was the last thing on their minds.
Wasn't there supposed to be a key?
Here it is. It is her hat.
Teddy, I'm not
Betty
sure
was
that's...
here, and not long ago.
Okay, but if that is her hat, what's it doing in a locked storeroom?
Another breadcrumb.
That's not an answer.
I know for sure she was here. That's what matters.
You know best, Edward. So, what now? If this is a breadcrumb, where's the next one?
There must be a reason her hat's in this room.
What's that?
A handwritten note.
I'm not blind. What does it say, you silly goose?
It's hard to read. I'm not sure my translation will be... Johann, you... Nectar. Refuse. You refuse to speak to me, so I write this letter instead. It's from Frederick Fretland to his brother. Simon did not... Bloody hell. Simon did not murder your Ruth. He was fond of his cousin.
Ruth. Ruth is the daughter of Anna and Johann, which means the little girl in the photograph at the farmhouse. Oh, Edward. The Fretland girl was murdered. This is simply awful.
Simon was working at the farm while I tended to the store. I would have seen him had he passed on the way up to the cliffs.
They thought Simon killed Ruth. His own cousin.
Ruth was... what's that word? Playing. Ruth was always playing on the rocks below the church. She must have fallen by accident. The note ends there. Frederick never finished it. And Johann never read it. Not that it would have made a difference. If Johann thought...
The mob showed up for Simon. His father would have tried to protect him.
September 17th. You would have been here, Betty.
Rocks below the church. Isn't the church right above us? Edward, come look at this. That's the cliff. Right there. The one in the note? I bet you 1,000,000 clams.
Where?
See for yourself.
I guess that could be where...
Let's check it out.
No, Lissy, wait.
right below it.
What are you doing? This doesn't concern
A
us.
little girl died. We're staying in her home.
Oh, for God's sake. Are you completely without heart? Get yourself up here, Edward Harden, right this minute. Come on, it's an easy climb.
This looks very dangerous.
Oh, you're a big boy? Start acting like it. It's not Mount Everest.
I don't know about this. Whoops-a-daisy. What is this?
Where little Ruth died.
You're being morbid. And this is a distraction. I'm here for betting, not because some girl
Edward.
got herself...
You insensitive brute. You're like the Tin Woodman, no heart. You know, you've grown cold and mean in that horrid study of yours. With only books and bugs to keep you company for years and years and years. There are other people in this world, you know. It's not all about you. You're going to do this. If not for Ruth, then for us. We're going to figure out what happened to the poor girl. Together.
That's been here a while.
Didn't you say it happened over a month ago?
You'd think her family would have replaced it with fresh flowers.
Is that blood?
The girl could have hit her head on that rock. There would have been plenty of blood.
That's awful. I think there's something behind it. Can you move the rock side? It must be Ruth's.
Where's the head?
Maybe the killer also decapitates dolls.
Hold on. This pin. This is old. Very old. Looks like something from the Viking era.
We are in the land of Vikings.
This could be 1,000 years old. It does not belong on a child's doll.
Who cares? Ruth is dead and you're obsessing about a rusty old pin? Let's go further up. Maybe we'll find more clues. Come on, old sport. It's not far.
Can you wait just 1 minute so that I can catch my breath? Huh. Did you follow the same path, Betty? Or am I just stumbling through darkness?
You can see clear beyond the edge of the world.
One
Oh,
second.
Teddy Bear. We need to take you out walking more often.
So, the girl fell from up here.
Was pushed, you mean? Can you see where she fell? Seeing as you're so concerned about me falling out of trees, I wouldn't want to risk falling off a cliff.
Certainly high enough to kill a child.
If I had to go, this would be the way to do it. Soaring through the air like a bird.
And landing like a rock. If she fell headfirst on that rock, she'd have died instantly.
Edward! Honestly.
You wanted to learn more. This is you learning more. She hit her head and fell into the bush where I found her doll. Happy now, Alice?
I'm not. What was she doing up here in the first place?
Playing? She was a child. Children play in dangerous places.
There must be more to it. Let's find out where this path leads.
No, absolutely not. I don't have time for this nonsense. We're running out of daylight, and Betty's still... You're still out there. Lissy, slow down. I can't keep up with you. Who knows what's up there? It's not worth the risk of falling and breaking something. Lissy?
Teddy,
My word. Look away, Lissy.
is this what happened to the villagers? They killed themselves?
It's one body. Let's not jump to conclusions.
What about those fresh graves at the church? There were at least half a dozen of them. Did everyone just die?
They're not necessarily
Oh,
connected.
come on. This is just ghastly. What made him do this? How long has he been?
From the state of the body, perhaps a couple of weeks. It depends on temperature and humidity, of course.
What does that say?
God forgive me.
Don't suicides go to hell? Isn't that what your father said when
Stop.
your mother drowned
Don't.
herself? Sorry. Do you think this has something to do with Ruth? Maybe she came across the hanged man before she died, and it scared her. So she ran, and
This happened later.
there's some consolation in that, I guess. Maybe it's the killer. The guilt ate him up, and he offed himself.
That's just speculation with no basis in fact.
Who was he? One of the Fretlanders?
It's not Johann or Frederick, and he's too old to be Simon. There's nothing more to do here. I'm going back. Let the poor soul rest in peace.
Does it look like he's resting in peace? You're just going to leave him hanging? You're an insensitive brute.
I'm here for Betty. It's tragic, but really none of my concern.
Betty, always just Betty. You don't care about anyone else. What if that was me up there? Would you care then? All you do is obsess over a scarf and a hat and ugh.
It's all I have of Betty.
Betty, there she is again. Edward, the hanged man, he's someone. No matter what he did or didn't do, he deserves respect. Would you please just do this one decent deed? If not for me, then for yourself. Or for your Betty.
I'm going to be sick. I can't do this.
Yes, you can. Teddy. Edward. I know you can. You've been through much worse. Where are the Fretlands, Edward?
It's been 2 days. If they're not back tonight,
They're not coming back.
perhaps they left after their daughter died.
Was murdered, you mean? Isn't that what we think happened?
She was probably murdered.
And you think Simon did it?
Your guess is as good as mine. It could have been an accident.
You're really not helping.
Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm sorry.
You're exhausted.
I buried a corpse today, Alice.
I know. I'm sorry. Why don't you sleep in the guest bedroom?
The couch is fine. The Fretlands could still come home.
All right. Just don't come crying to me if you wake up with a crick in your neck. I'll be up for a while, if you feel like talking.
I really thought I'd find Betty today.
Well, I told you not to get your hopes up, Edward. I mean, we just got here. It's a big place. She could be anywhere.
It's just the thought of her alone out there in the dark.
She's a tough cookie. Your Betty. Tougher than you, teddy bear.
That she is. I feel restless.
You should sleep.
I'm not sure I can. But yes, I'll try. In a bit.
What are you doing?
Betty will want these back.
I don't think it's healthy
Not now, please. I'm exhausted.
Quite the day, huh?
I'm ready to pass out. Where will you sleep?
I'll be up for a while. My mind's simply racing.
Don't stay up late. Wake me if you hear the Fretlins arriving.
Of course. And I'll keep my eyes open for any ghosts that might want to haunt you in your sleep.
There are no...
Hush now. Sleep.
Alice?
Upstairs! Betty? Is that you?
Lissy!
I'm in here.
This is her room. Are you paying attention? Ruth. Can you imagine? One moment you're living a perfectly happy life, and then... nothing. Darkness. Forever and ever. Maybe there's something here that can tell us what happened to her.
This is a waste of my time.
We might be the only ones left to tell her story, Edward.
You're just being melodramatic. I'll help you look. There's still no sign of the Fretlins.
Maybe they left town after Ruth died.
What's the point?
She made her bed that morning. Before she...
Or her parents did. It doesn't matter. It tells us nothing.
Why are you like this today? Betty's not the only person in the world that matters.
She matters the most to me.
Ain't that the truth?
Draugen.
Hey, the undead monster from those folk tales you read.
What an odd book for a child to have.
I don't know. Children love scary stories. This looks interesting. Read some of it to me, please.
In Norwegian folklore, the appearance of Draugen, the reanimated corpse of a drowned mariner, heralds death. Draugen haunts the Black Seas in a shattered boat. The beast has a man's body and wears a sou'wester, but instead of a head, there is tangled seaweed, and the revenant's chilling cry freezes mortal blood to ice. Draugen has the power to enter the dreams of the living. If you wake from such a dream, you have been spared, though someone close to you... That's enough of that. It's nonsense, of course. Not something a child should be reading.
Do you think Draugen took our boat? Maybe he's out there, on the fjord, waiting for nightfall so he can return to shore.
No.
And your soul lacks poetry, Edward Charles Harden. I pity you. Ruth was an artist.
This is very primitive.
Have you ever met a child, Edward? She wasn't Monet, she was 8. Ruth never finished this. What does that spell? F-O-R-B.
For Banelson. The curse.
Who's that figure supposed to be? It's creepy. It looks a bit like the Draugen in her book.
A figment of her imagination. But the box she drew... It looks like this box under her desk.
Really? Let me see, pull it out. What is this?
I believe this might qualify as actual treasure.
Is that Norwegian money?
Sort of, but ancient. Viking coins.
Are they valuable?
Not in terms of monetary value, but historically. Well, they belong in a museum.
Looks like Ruth had her own private museum.
Why would a child have these artifacts?
She must have enjoyed collecting and playing with them.
These are much too precious to play with. She should have given these to an adult.
She was a child, Edward. To her, they were just shiny toys. Wait! The pin! On the doll!
This is where it came from, her collection.
But where did she find these treasures?
A dig, a gravesite. Wherever she found them, she wanted to keep them hidden.
You think someone found out?
These items wouldn't necessarily be worth much, except to a historian or archaeologist.
What if this is how... I mean, if someone learned she'd been collecting treasures, they might be willing to do terrible things. This must be the village church. That's Ruth and her family on one side of the aisle, Simon and his father on the other.
A community divided.
She found something.
Where's that supposed to be?
A cave. Or the...
Mine. It could be. But what did she find?
Her Viking treasure. Of course. That must be Ruth and Simon's fathers.
Perhaps. They weren't on the best of terms.
They look like they want to kill each other.
To a child, maybe it looked worse than it was.
Children are more insightful than you give them credit for, Teddy Bear. There's a story here. The treasure box, the drawings.
The overactive mind of an imaginative child.
Well, she didn't imagine the Viking artifacts. You shouldn't be so dismissive. The drawings could be her way of dealing with traumatic events.
This is what happens when I read you the principles of psychology. You get notions.
You say that like it's a bad thing. Ruth was troubled. The village was troubled, and... Is that a bell?
The church bell. Someone's here. Maybe... Betty.
Why would Betty ring the church bell?
Perhaps she's in trouble. I need to get to the church right now.
Wait, isn't it more likely to be the person you saw the other night?
I told you, I'm not sure that was anything. Come on.
Go ahead. I'll catch up with you before you get there. I need a minute for that.
All these fresh graves.
No one's touched these since yesterday. Regardless,
Who did this?
someone who'd lost their faith.
Gone fishing?
God is not here.
Well, of course he isn't. You won't find God in a church. God is the wind in the trees, the grass between your toes, the brook that runs
That's
through...
nature, not God.
Can you peek through the boards?
No,
Listen! The bell! They're still in there.
Hello? I heard the bell.
This is giving me
I'm
the
here to help.
heebie-jeebies.
These boards look flimsy enough to break.
Look at that. The Ethel becomes an Edward. I didn't think you had it in you, old fruit.
Be quiet. Betty? Are you here? Hello? This is Edward Harden. I'm looking for my sister,
Stop
Elizabeth.
shouting, Edward. We're alone. There are only ghosts here.
Lizzie, look. Betty's gloves. They are definitely Betty's.
Oh, for
She got
Pete's
these
sake.
in Boston before she left for New York. She bought them at Woolworth. I remember the day She's here.
Where? And why would she leave her clothes lying around? It doesn't make
Breadcrumbs.
sense.
She's sending me a message. She knew I'd recognize her gloves, her hat. She's left a trail for me to follow, like Ariadne's red thread.
We're not in a lab.
Betty will have left more crumbs.
Betty, you're turning into such a pill. What happened here?
The sign on the door. God is not here. Their faith was challenged.
Isn't this a fire hazard?
They're not always lit. Each candle represents a single prayer.
That's a lot of prayers.
There were a lot of deaths. They considered this a sacred place. For them to destroy it. This was an act of desperation and anger.
Jesus looks sad.
What reason would Jesus have to be happy?
Don't be blasphemous.
Given that this is all fiction, blasphemy is a contradiction.
Heretic. I've never seen you read the Bible before.
I've read the Bible many times. It's an important historical document. For he is our peace, who hath made both one, and hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us.
Did you just translate that into Olden English?
I happen to know the verse by heart.
You still manage to surprise me sometimes.
What are you doing?
The final dinner.
The Last Supper. Who taught you about the New Testament?
I pick up on things. Most folks aren't heathens, like you. What's this rope for?
The bell.
This is the bell we heard ringing?
I don't see any other bells.
So you have to stand here and pull this rope to ring it.
Yes.
But there was no one here. You didn't see anyone, right?
No. No one.
Ghosts. I'm telling you, it's ghosts. So what happened to the Hunchback of Grovik?
They must be here still. There's only the one exit.
Maybe it was the wind.
A church bell's too heavy. It can't have been the wind. I mean... I don't know. Maybe it was the wind. There's no one...
What's that?
The last sermon that was held here.
What does it say?
The vicar's handwriting is hard to decipher, and the language... He talks about the village being divided for 20 years. This sermon was held on the anniversary of the accident this past summer. He's asking the congregation to help heal old wounds, to forgive, move on. Something to the effect of, you sit in separate aisles in God's house.
Like Ruth's drawing. I told you, she was perceptive.
It sounds like Grovik was split in two, between those who stood by Johann and those who supported Frederick.
Because of Ruth?
The sermon is from before that. No, this is all about the preceding 20 years of division and disagreements. till varandra.
Edward?
Forgive each other. It addresses Johann and Frederick directly. But I wonder if they were even here.
Well, they were twin brothers. They must have been close once. How could they allow their grudge to escalate until...
You call each other traitors, but the only thing you've betrayed are the bonds that unite us. Here's something else. Many of you believe Grovik was cursed 20 years ago. God has not cursed you. This curse is of your own making.
Ruth's drawing mentioned a curse. What do you think that means?
It means they believed they were cursed, and that they needed something or someone to blame for their misfortune. That bell still bothers me.
Didn't you say it was the wind?
I guess it could have been the wind.
Once you eliminate the impossible, etc., etc.
The church book, a record of births and deaths.
So we can find out what happened to the people in the village?
And, Elizabeth. I mean, if she was dead...
Her name would be in the book.
Vandals. Tore it to pieces.
I don't think the missing pages left the church. Look. How many pages are missing?
I counted 4.
They're probably all still here. I know. Let's make it a competition. 1-0 to Team Me. I wanted you to find that one. I know what a rotten loser you are. Found another one. You get it. It's right here. Just one more page missing. Two for two. A tie. Good job, Teddy, old
Stop,
bean.
Lissy. This is not a game. Betty's out there.
Of horse feathers. Stop being so gosh darn tedious, Edward. Bitty, bitty, bitty. Will you ever shut up about your precious Betty? Put those pages back in the book, and I'll stop trying to cheer you up.
This book goes back years. It lists births and deaths. Here's the 3rd Fretland brother. The one who died in the cave-in. Someone added the word for Banelson, probably quite recently.
What does that mean again?
Curse. That word is all over this book. Not just the men who died in the mine, but other deaths in the last 20 years.
Ruth's drawing and the sermon both mentioned a curse. What do you think it means?
I don't know. There were surprisingly few births.
Perhaps they blame that on the curse as well.
Look here. Ruth Elsa Fretland. She was buried in the cemetery. And the next entry, Simon Fretland. Now this is interesting.
Simon is dead? Oh, that's dreadful.
He drowned the day after Ruth died. Probably no coincidence. See what's scribbled next to it?
Mord?
Murder.
Who killed him? Ruth's father? Or the mob that trashed the store?
It doesn't say. After the children, a half-dozen deaths in a single week.
The curse.
It's listed as the cause for every single death.
Maybe there really was a curse.
Primitive superstition. But something changed after Ruth and Simon. It might explain why there's no one around.
Edward, if it killed everyone, how's that not a curse? What does that word say? Next to those names at the bottom. Furadar.
Traitor.
Edward? What's wrong?
The final entry. There's no name. Alice, what if...
Oh, Edward, no.
Betty,
It doesn't mean she's...
she's not dead. She can't be. I'd know. I'd know.
Teddy.
I need to see a grave for myself. It's not Betty. Betty's still alive.
Teddy? Where are you going? Don't leave me! Edward!
You better not be here, Betty. I'll never forgive you. This one, it's unmarked.
What are you doing? Have you gone completely mad? Edward, stop it!
Thank God. It's not her. It's not Betty. It's not her.
Oh, Edward. What have you done?
It's not Elizabeth. I was so afraid.
You're a monster.
But I had to be sure. If Betty...
To hell with your Betty! When did she ever shed a tear for you?
Don't talk about my baby sister like
Or
that.
what? Or what, Edward? What will you do? Ignore us? Banish us? You've spent your entire life chasing her. When are you going to do something useful with what's left of it?
Quiet! Just leave me be.
Fine.
Lizzie? Alice? Come back. Don't leave me alone. Please. Come back. I need you. Lizzie? Where are you? I was afraid you'd left me. Now listen to me. No! Lizzie! Alice? Lizzie. Hey. Lizzie, please listen to me. I didn't mean what I said.
Of course you meant it. Everything's always about Betty. Betty, Betty.
I care about you both.
Until it really matters. Then it's obvious who matters more.
I thought she was dead.
I wish she was!
Don't.
You deserve to be alone.
Please, talk to me.
What's there to talk about?
You can't keep running away from me.
You think you own me? That you control me? That you get to decide how I feel and what I do every minute of every day? That I'm your puppet? Your little plaything? Well, fuck you, Edward Charles Harden! I never should have come here with you on this pointless chase!
Now, be reasonable. What are you doing?
What I should have done years ago. Maybe now you'll learn to appreciate us.
Now listen to me. Please, listen. Hear me out. Don't do this. You can't do this to me. I need you. I'm not whole without you. I can't lose you. I can't live without you. Don't, please, don't, no, 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 no! What? No! Oh, Alice. What have you done? Please, be all right. Please, don't.
You make me sick, Edward. Your mother and father would be ashamed. Elizabeth would be ashamed. They did not think you deserved their love, so they abandoned you.
Don't.
Oh, my child. We are all that you have, and we love you. We are here. With us, you are never alone. Do not forget.
No, Never. Never. I never forget. I am never alone.
Wake up, Edward. Stop hiding. Where you go, we go, Edward. You cannot hide from us.
Where's Lissy?
Alice is not here.
Bring her back. Please. I need her.
Alice does not love Elizabeth like you do.
She loves me.
Not like I do, Edward.
I'm so tired. Please.
What do you want?
I think of you so often. You have no idea.
You just want me to forgive you so that we can keep looking for your precious, perfect Betty.
She needs us.
She never needed you, Teddy Bear. And she certainly doesn't need us.
I can't find her on my own.
Well, it's just too bad, my darling Edward. Because we're done playing second fiddle to little sis.
Wait, don't go. I'm talking to you. Lissy. Oh. Please. Lissy? Listen, you can't keep vanishing on me.
Try me.
Why are you so angry?
You do not know anger, Edward.
Did you ever meet my father?
Alice does not want to speak with you.
And what about you? Are you going to help me?
God helps those who help themselves.
I don't need God's help. I need Lissy.
Do you, though? Did you ever?
What? Of course, Lissy? Lissy! Lissy, get back here. Hear me out. Don't go. Alice, I depend on you both.
You can never depend on other people, Edward.
I'm not sure you count as other people.
Everyone leaves. one way or another.
You don't. You can't.
Is that a challenge?
Stop playing games.
Are you ordering me, teddy bear?
I'm asking you.
Didn't your father always tell you to stand up for yourself? To be a real man and not a sissy? Maybe that's why he put the gun to his head and pulled the trigger. Kaboom! He was so disappointed about what his only son had turned into.
You're a monster.
Takes one to know one. Old fruit.
Alice? Please. I gave you this jacket. Betty. You were here. Lissy, I'm tired of chasing you. I'm trying to talk to you. Alice, be reasonable. Lissy, look. Her jacket. I'm sure it wasn't here yesterday, which
Jesus
means
Christ,
Betty was
Teddy.
here. Perhaps when we were out yesterday.
Betty,
she must have...
Betty.
You love Betty more than you love us. But don't you see? What has Betty done that we haven't? What can she do that we cannot? We've always been there for you. Why do you keep looking for her?
She's real. You're not.
So?
What? You decide what is real. We are real to you.
It will never be the same.
She does not want you.
Who are you talking
Why
about?
do you think Betty left? She was sick and tired of us. She wanted to escape.
Like Mother.
Drowning herself because she couldn't stand being around us.
Like Father.
Bang! Right in the coconut.
Stop.
You drive them all away, Edward. All into death.
Please.
But not us. We're always here for you.
I beg you.
You are never alone.
Stop! Leave me alone, both of you!
You want to be alone?
You really want to be alone?
Fine. You're alone.
Good.
Lissy. Come back. Please. Don't leave me. Lissy! Betty, I'm coming. Betty? Betty! Are you in there? Open the door! I'm coming in! Stand away from the door! Betty? No! No, 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 no! Oh. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I thought it was you, Betty. But who? Anna. You said this was a gift from another unlucky suitor. It was precious to you. You wouldn't have left it here unless... a signpost. A breadcrumb. But what's so important about the Fretlands? I will figure this out. I will find you, I promise. It's from Johann, addressed to his wife. Did you notice the handwriting, Betty? He was clearly distraught. Knock ere knock. Enough is enough. After decades of strife, I pray that God will... Tilly, forgive me. I am tired of secrets. For 20 years I've kept my silence about our discovery, but my silence has only led to misfortune, and my cowardice has only led to death. I will make Frederick pay for what he has done to us, for what they have done to our Ruth. When it is over, I will let the ocean take me to you and Ruth. May God forgive me. Anna was already dead when he wrote this. He had no one else to confess to. What now, Betty? Johann went to confront his brother, probably at Frederick's farm. And then? You followed Johann to Frederick Fretland's farm, and then to the mine. You wouldn't let this go, Betty. You'd follow your story to the end. All the way to the end. Did you go to the mine, Betty? Is that what you're trying to tell me? So where is Frederick's farm? led you to this place? All these fragments. You'd piece them together into a story, wouldn't you, Betty? So, what do we know? Johann and Frederick are partners, and on good terms. But something happens in the mine. Disagreements lead to a falling out. And at the end of it all, 20 years later, Johann walks this path to confront Frederick. Was this your doing, Johann? Did you burn your brother's farm to the ground? And where were you, Betty? Did you witness their fall? Simon's grave. Born December 5th, 1909, died September 17th, 1923. The safe. Frederick would choose numbers that meant something to him. Why bury Simon here and not at the cemetery? If the village blamed him for Ruth's death, I could really use your imagination, Betty. You'd figure this out in no time. What do you reckon, Betty? Let's try Simon's birthday. Another Viking artifact, Betty. Most likely from the same treasure Ruth found. Postmarked in Boston. That's a curious coincidence. Dear Frederick, I hope this letter... It's in English, Betty. Hope this letter finds you and the boy in good health. We're concerned about you both. No word from you for almost 2 years now. All of us still heartbroken about Margaret's passing. We know things have been difficult for you and Simon. Mr. Fretland, we expect you to take care of this problem. If the discovery is made public, the authorities will intervene and the mine will be shut down. Should this happen, we will consider it a breach of our contract, and we will withdraw our investment. You and your brother will be responsible for all debts and losses. Johann must be convinced to wall up the chamber. We have already dealt with the worker who made the discovery. Fretland Mining Company. I wonder what this unlocks. You went to the mine. I hope our guardian angel watched over you. All right, Betty. So what happens next in your story? Johann and Frederick discover something in the mine. A cave, or chamber of archaeological value. They argue about what to do. If the discovery is made public, it's the end of their enterprise. Johann is convinced, or paid, to walk away. Their secret stays hidden. Then, a few months later, the accident. 3 men die. The investors pull out, the mine shuts down, Frederick's up to his neck in debt. So, 20 years pass. The Fretland feud tears the village apart, setting neighbor against neighbor. And then, Ruth stumbles across the secret in the mine. After all this time, the truth may finally come to light, but she dies. And the day after, Simon is murdered. It's a catalyst. Old grievances resurface. No matter who you stand with, you're a traitor. Things escalate. More people die. From disease, despair, suicides, murder. All because of the mine. Because of what they found there. And what they covered up. There was no one to stop it, Betty. They were alone. That's the real curse of Grovik. Isolation. This place is cursed. Ridiculous. Ruth was here, the day she fell. You were here, Betty. You saw Ruth. Maybe you tried to help, but she ran. All the way to the cliff where... Do you know what happened, Betty? Did you witness it? Hello? Betty, are you in there? Please answer me. This is Mother's brooch. You always wore this. You wouldn't take it off unless... You left it here for a reason. What am I not seeing? Betty? Elizabeth? Is that you?
Edward? Where are you?
I'm on my way, Betty. Wait for me.
Edward!
Stay where you are. I'm coming.
Edward! Where are you?
I'm on my way.
Edward, please! Hurry!
I'm coming, Betty.
Edward!
I'm almost there. I'm here, Betty. It's Edward. It's me.
Edward?
Just stick. I can hear you. Hold on. I'm almost there.
Edward! Oh, Edward! Hurry!
I'm coming.
Edward, is that you? I'm in here.
Thank God. Thank God. Elizabeth! There you are. Finally. You have no idea how long I've been looking for you. You had me so worried. I... Look! Your brooch. Mother's brooch. You must have lost it at the mine. Let me put it on for you, Betty. I wouldn't want you to lose it again. No.
She's been dead for 30 years, Edward. Elizabeth was never here. But we didn't come for her. We came for Johann, and Anna, and Frederick, and Simon, and Ruth. We're here to tell their stories.
No. Elizabeth. She's here.
You know Betty died when she was a baby. She drowned in the pond. And you found her. You were just 11. You carried her to your mother And your mother,
She hated you for that.
she could never forgive you for bringing her baby to her. And you could never forgive yourself for what she did after. You always forget this. Because you don't want to be alone. So you bring Betty back. Again and again. To New York. To Boston. To the house. But always just out of reach. Never quite there. The scent of her. The echo of her. But never really her. All it does is make you lonelier. But the thing is, Edward, you're never alone.
You have us.
And you'll always have us. Betty's... She was never there for you. She couldn't be. You can't lose us. We're a part of you.
Forever. And ever. And ever.
But you need to let Betty go now. There's not room for all of us in there.
I couldn't save you, Elizabeth. I'm so sorry. It is as painful to wake from a vision as it is to be born anew. Goodbye, Betty.
Teddy bear? Are you up? Come outside. It's a beautiful day.
Had your noodle juice yet?
I might be weaned off the stuff.
Boo. Don't lose your taste for tea, old fruit. It keeps you human. We have unfinished business.
We do?
The final piece of the puzzle.
Ruth.
Come on. Let's go back to where it started. We have an appointment with a ghost.
Lissy. Nothing.
Such an amazing view, isn't it? And the air. Ugh. Boy, that sure is something.
What did you want to show me?
Come sit down. Why did we come here, Teddy?
To Grovik. Well, to find my sister.
But Betty's not. She was never here. It doesn't make sense.
The letter to Frederick.
The one you found in his safe. From Boston.
I may have overheard a conversation somewhere, paid it no attention, but the name stuck. And Betty... And I spun a story around it that put us on this path.
Do you really believe that? I mean, how often are you around people?
Some places have gravity.
What are you saying? Gravewick's gravity pulled us across the Atlantic Ocean?
Grovik. No, I'm not saying that. That's irrational.
But you believe it, don't you? That we were summoned to tell their story.
I'm a man of science. I don't know what to believe.
And yet, here we are. All three of us.
Is this what you wanted to show me?
I wanted to be close to her. Do you believe in ghosts, Edward?
You know I don't.
Well, you've been chasing one for years.
That's different.
What about me? Us.
You're not ghosts, you're alive.
Fair enough. So what really happened to Ruth?
I believe it was an accident.
How? What happened?
Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, she ran from the mine and came here. And then... was she afraid? What made her run?
Something spooked her.
She saw Betty and... no, that's impossible. It was someone, or something else. So she ran here. Why not home? She couldn't go home. Or she didn't want to. She felt safe here. This was her happy place. And then... if only Ruth had wings, like an angel, she could have flown straight to heaven. I hope she's at peace. And with God. Do you think that's where everyone's gone?
Heaven? They're dead. I don't know what that means. Maybe there is more. I can't stop you from hoping. We'll never know what happened to everyone in Grovik.
We tried our best. We'll remember them. All of them. Maybe that will give them some peace in the afterlife. Could this be your book, Edward? The one you've been wanting to write? A story about people who are isolated, left behind by the world. You can give them all a proper ending, with no annoying loose threads. Edward! Is that...
A boat? But how?
Who cares? Let's catch it before it sets out on another adventure.
I don't understand how this can be.
Draugen got tired of sailing around in it and brought it back to us.
It must have been the wind.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, teddy bear. Let's blouse, while the weather's still good.
I need my suitcase.
So get a wiggle on, old boy. I'm going to say my goodbyes to all the things. I don't think we'll be back. Meet you at the house.
My goodness. Righty-ho. No rush. We have all day.
Come on, Teddy. Pack your things. I'll meet you by the boat.
Do you never sit still?
Don't be a wet blanket. Let's make like the wind and get out of here. Let's go! Row, Teddy, row!
Oh, look at that. The ground's finally dried up.
Are you talking to yourself again? The water's still cold.
It's a fjord, Lissy, and it's almost winter.
There'll be snow when we get back to Hanover.
The house will be warm.
Are we going to be all right, Edward?
I think so.
Mm.